So, I just think to you that this will take time, especially on the front end.
Say that again, Terry?
It'll take time to
Time.
recruit, you
On the
mean?
front end, no.
Oh.
When I said yes, the staff said yes, and that made all the difference. You know, yes to investing in me and being available to me. And then the issues of how that's hard to do because it takes away from. So the time issue is.
The time issue, it can be a barrier. I'm not sure I'm following.
Well, it's both a gift and necessary for the volunteers, but it's, I'm talking about for the
It
staff.
costs the staff
Leon.
some-
I'm
it
talking
costs
about
the
how it
staff.
costs the
Staff time to invest in the volunteers.
Volunteers need it,
Yeah.
staff have a hard time giving it.
That's
You
true.
spend time to eventually have more time.
I'm gonna say, time is a gift to the volunteer, but it's a limited resource that we feel.
And
Okay.
probably if you invest on the front end, well, it pays off on the unseen
Okay, yeah,
other end, but you have to have faith.
yeah. So it's a front-end investment, maybe.
Yeah, heavy.
The long-term
initial.
payoff.
Yeah, long-term payoff, that's the
And it's a,
Okay, others?
Seasons was something I
Mm.
could,
Seasons.
your volunteer season, that's something I really hadn't thought about, but if you go in, with that in mind, then it helps you to not,
Yeah,
be disappointed.
yeah. So it's helpful to think through what stage of life are they in, what are their capacities? Yeah, yes, sir.
They don't like to ideate.
Idiots.
They don't like to ideate. They don't like to brainstorm. They don't have time. They want a clear problem,
Okay.
and they want to be invited into some kind of clear solution. I don't know how many times I've just tell me what to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna write clear path.
Maybe you're volunteers.
They need us to show them a track, a path to run on. Yes, sir.
with the seasons, I think, thinking about the time investment, if you think about, you invest now to equip somebody, you may have somebody for 10 to 20 years, in and out over 10 to 20 years. So seeing it long term, you don't have to write that down, but
Yeah, I'll just write long-term gain. And I think one reason that I've been so bad at engaging volunteers is it just feels like a lot of work, and I'm not natural at it. And I forget, if I pull somebody in, they could be a partner for decades, right? Yes, sir.
Paradigms unlike, that phrase. Paradigms unlike intervarsities. And I think sometimes the people who are most eager to volunteer actually want to fix your ministry.
Okay.
And sometimes the people least likely to actually volunteer are probably the people that would be most amenable to working with your paradigms.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
and sometimes it just takes time to figure out, and you have to give somebody a little something to do and see if they
Okay,
shellac you with it, or if they do well, or.
yeah.
But in that same context, Leon, if somebody is a volunteer with a university background, maybe university undergrad and not grad faculty background, and so they've got the same issues and struggles with figuring out how to do it with grad students that we did when we first started, and, anyway, so that doesn't mean
Absolutely.
they don't do it, but it's just, there are some obstacles even within the opportunities.
Absolutely. It strikes me that both of your comments, Don Paul's and Julian's observations that or actually it was Julian's more, that, creating a clear path, communicating clearly, this is what I would like for you to do, it's going to be very helpful for people coming from different outside the culture. Yes, sir.
Maybe I'm the only one in the room thinking about this, but maybe have a little clarity. Are we talking about this in regard to grad student ministry and faculty, or just grad student ministry?
Your ministry, whatever, yeah, both.
and professional schools.
Professional schools.
Well, students.
Yes, students.
Professional schools. I mean, we could even be talking about some volunteer and helping you in some capacity of your work that's not even directly related to the student ministry, I suppose. Like, I'd love to find somebody who would like to help me with graphic design stuff, So it could be anything you need help with to accomplish the mission. One more comment, or two. Let's do George and Gary.
I've had best success where I figured out what their calling was and then been able to have something that they did within the ministry that fit that
Okay.
and met that.
Take some discernment of their
Yeah,
calling and their gifts.
right.
Yeah.
George took the exact words out of my mouth. There you go.
Okay, okay. Way to go, George. Woo-hoo. All right. Now, having had this brief little conversation, go back and do the same thing again. Take those beige cards and come up with some ideas. Maybe this will spark some new, fresh thinking. So see if you can generate any additional ideas for a few minutes. Okay, now I wonder, think about yourself and ask yourself, would people who know me well describe me as quick on my feet? And if that's you, I need 2 volunteers. Do I have 2 quick on their feet kind of people? Mary.
That's quick. That's quick.
Does that mean physically or mentally?
I think I'm looking more for mental right now.
Mental feet.
Mental feet.
You're pretty quick.
Okay.
Just then.
Do any of you,
I might just
people
be
who know you well,
very
would they describe you as being efficient? Okay, Don, Paul, and Mary, they're our volunteers. Give them a round of applause. What I'd like you to do now is, if on each table, if you can collect all those cards, and we're going to give you a 5-minute break. So go to the bathroom if you need to. It'd be great if you could stay in this room or very close by, so we can call you back together in a few minutes. So let's collect all the cards.
all of them?
Okay, so we have, we've grouped all of your ideas into 8 different themes, kind of, broad categories. And so we now need 8 groups. So there are 6 tables. So what does that mean? That means 4, 5, 2 of the tables need to split in half, right? So maybe the bigger table, so maybe if this table and this table, if you guys can break into 2 groups.
Well, yeah, we could use those other 2 tables.
Or those 2 groups outside.
The 2
Yeah, you can go
triangles.
over there, that's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine. And so every group, take one of these themes.
You want to read them out? Or we're going to stay on our current tables?
What?
We just stay in our current table?
Yeah, stay at your current table unless
Okay.
you okay.
So we need to, tables that have a lot of people, if you could send somebody over there
Well, yeah.
to fill those tables, right?
Well, I was just suggesting this table split in half and that table split in half. And go over
I'm
there.
going to let you do
There you guys are.
We've got
So we're just reading them together?
I don't know. I don't think we've got.
Somebody's doing it. Michael said he's gonna figure all this out for us.
Which group does not have their cards?
One-on-one.
Okay, can we get a volunteer to join this group? Thank you. Can we get, who from your group? Can we get 2 volunteers to join that group? Gary? Okay, so here's the assignment. Here's the assignment. You've got a few minutes, read through all the ideas in your theme. And what we want you to do is riff on that and kind of coalesce that and come up with one really good idea. Kind of based on that. Use these to inspire you. And come up with one really good idea, and you're going to make a brief presentation to the group on that. Okay. Brief 1-minute presentation.
Should we lay them all out so we can all look at them?
Get to work.
And do we get a prize at the
Okay, everybody, if we can settle down and kind of come back together. So, when I was young, I was one of those kind of precocious kids who read a lot, and I'm sure many of you were like that. Read a lot, and so I knew lots of words I learned through reading that my parents never used, right? And so I was always using words that I had read and kind of, through context, figured out what they meant. But that sometimes meant that I didn't really know how they were pronounced. Case in point, I'm a freshman in college, and we're in literature, we're discussing Robert Penn Warren's All the King's Men, and I was waxing eloquent on a point, and I said, you know, that Jack Burton's kind of brusque demeanor was merely a facade for his inner insecurities. And my professor said, what? And I said it again, merely a facade. She went, oh! You mean a facade? I had never heard that word in my life. And I said, facade, I was like this big, you know? So anyway, I've just been informed that I did it again. It's not ideation, it's ideation. I never heard that word before. I was just
The word idea.
Yes. Well, I understood the etymology, but I didn't think about the pronunciation. So let's say ideation rather than ideation. Okay, so.
And I'm corrupted forever.
Forgive me. You know the saying. You know the saying. No matter where you go, there you are. You know. So, alrighty. Let's have each group give, and please, we need to be tight. Let's have one group.
Okay,
Tim.
okay, this, what? Okay, go. We are in the prayer circle, and so we titled our thing Real-Time Intercession, either on-site or off-site. And we like it because it is in real time. It is in the flow of ministry. We like it because it disciples volunteers in how to pray, and we would probably train them in how to pray for an event like whatever is happening. It exposes, excuse me just a minute, no. It exposes people to the joys and challenges of ministry because they see the potential of what can happen, but they also, you know, sometimes the staff can inform them about certain things that are at work in whatever that group setting is that are kind of and also we know that it will bear fruit because God answers prayer.
Okay, you got it. Go.
All right, so we got the mentoring ideas, and they're more one-on-one. And the idea that stuck out to us the most was whoever wrote this nice little card. It says, "Do life skills counseling for students and or younger faculty," and that includes premarital or marital counseling, budgeting or financial management, vocational discernment, and interpersonal skills coaching. And we like the idea because it was really specific, and also because, you know, volunteers, they may not have like the skills or expertise to really disciple people in their vocation or academic calling, but a lot of volunteers maybe have some experience in these areas, and it's just a real felt need for a lot of students. So it seemed like just, yeah.
Repeat that list.
Premarital or marital counseling, budgeting or financial management, vocational discernment, and interpersonal skills coaching. And so we like the ideas because they kind of capture both kind of the public and private life of discipleship and all of this.
Okay, thank you. This table back here.
Can't remember what our category was, but
Teach.
Fail. So we had we like the audience shift here. Have a Christian professor who's connected to Ivy Grad Ministries give a Saturday morning workshop on a topic that's relevant to the community. The audience being something like a supportive church or alumni gathering or broad invitation to the broader community who needs to get more exposure to GFM and IVCF and would benefit from the conversation.
Wow, that's great.
So we like the idea of just gathering community folks to both to develop the habit of thinking there might be really smart people at the university who could speak into this situation or need in the community, and begin doing that. Plus, it helps them to see who we hang out with, what kind of people we engage.
Yeah, great. Thank you. You guys, this table.
Okay. Well, we had a hard time picking, but what we talked about the last part was something that's happened with George's ministry, where the life groups in his church have been looking for a place to volunteer to put some of the things in the life group into practice, and they came to George's Bike Night, which is outreach for international students and stuff. And they got a picture for international student ministry, how evangelism, you can do evangelism in a certain way that's not that intimidating. And so now several people who were at that are now advocating for George's ministry, and they're telling other people about it, and they're telling other people they should support it.
Yeah.
So they become advocates. And I think we can do the same thing, especially with our outreach ministries, if we invite people to come to those, like one I did, the missions committee came to an outreach we did on campus, and they loved it, and they're advocating for it and stuff. And so some kind of outreach stuff that people can come to and get excited about it.
Absolutely, great. Do you have that written down, that summarized? If you don't, could you write it down? Because we want to have a record of that. You guys.
The category was
Advocacy.
Public
So our category was ministry support services, and our idea was to utilize volunteers that have specialized skills that we don't necessarily have, such as grant writing, web design, web maintenance, and graphic design, or helping with brochures, posters.
Super, thank you. You guys?
Excellent, 25 seconds.
So we were recruiting, I think, was our category. And we talked about having a process where maybe we engage people at a church, or we engage people in some sort of public presentation about what we do. We look for the people that are responsive in that setting and say, hey, I'd love to come check out an event, or they just come up and talk. We invite them to come to a campus event of some sort, where we have the chance to observe them. Do they come to an event and monopolize my time? Do they come to an event and talk to students? Do they come to an event and look for just a way that's practical to serve behind the scenes? And then afterwards, we debrief, maybe we ask some students or other staff that were present what they observed about that person, and it gives us a good chance to decide, like, is this someone we want to invite to further training or volunteering opportunities, or was it like, I hope they never come back to anything we do because they were an unhelpful presence, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Good thing to do with staff candidates too. I mean, paid staff candidates.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great, thank you. This back table back here.
Category was attend, and we kind of trying to recruit the volunteers based on the philosophy of come and see. And so come and see, and then debriefing together, and then equipping them based on the needs. And to illustrate that, we have a story here of Christina, who first went to a conference about GFM, and then Gary here went to her church and spoke about it. And at the end of his talk, Christina came to him and was like talking to him about it, and he asked her questions like, would you ever consider doing this? And she was like, yeah. So, and she has been serving for 3 years just because she went there and heard the debrief, and he asked her to come and consider.
Okay, great, thank you. And then lastly, this table.
Finally, we are the hosting table, and so we came down to two categories. One, and in both, we wanted to incorporate the fact that people are time conscious. And so we don't want to scare people away by asking them to do a big thing, but we rather want to kind of move them in carefully, subtly, and build up the momentum of their involvement, so that maybe at the end of the semester or the end of the school year, we can say, hey, you hosted a small group, or hey, you adopted a student or two, So some of the iterations of adopting a student would be helping students move in, inviting them into the home, offering a city tour, being a guide to doing any kind of outing event, things like that. This can be done in the context of working with administrators at universities, because for example, International Student Services is always looking for volunteers and stuff like that, so you can plug into something that's going on at the university, or you can look within your group of new faculty or students, and how can you serve those individuals within your group. The other category, did I miss anything? Okay. The other category was hosting a small group. So that can start by just simply asking someone to bring rotisserie chickens to an event, or, you know, to buy them. And then they could be a segment in a progressive dinner or host a whole dinner. They can provide activities for a dinner or an event that you're having. You can help them participate in a day-long retreat or conference, something that you're doing weekend, you know, like a weekend retreat. Holidays, incorporate them into, or have them incorporate students into what they're doing for their holiday. And then lastly, just being involved in some way during a semester for a small group. So again, the point is to ease them into a volunteer role slowly.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mary, and thank you, everybody. So what we hope to do now is take these ideas, get them on paper, disseminate them to the region, and then hopefully this will be a good brainstorming document, ideation document for folks as they're working on their amps to come up with. We're hoping in the region that every person will have on their amp at least one fresh idea for involving volunteers in the ministry. So we're done, but if you can do one thing, take all your cards, you know, assemble them into a pile, put your summary idea on top, and then take the name of the theme and put that on the very top and paper clip those together, and I'll come by and collect those piles. Thank you very much.
So you're going to compile these, Leon?
Thank you, Leon.
You're going to compile